vocabulary and vibrant imagery. Part 1. A chromatic collision. In the heart of a sylvan emerald expanse, where sunlight dappled the forest floor in a kaleidoscope of emerald and jade, lived Anya and Silas. Their love story was a vibrant tapestry woven with threads of laughter, whispered secrets under a canopy of cerulean twilight, and stolen kisses beneath the watchful gaze of a harvest moon. Anya, with hair the color of burnished copper and eyes that mirrored the stormy cerulean of a brewing tempest, possessed a spirit as wild and untamed as the forest itself. Silas, on the other hand, was a beacon of stoic tranquility, his eyes reflecting the verdant depths of the ancient woods, his touch a soothing balm to Anya's mercurial temperament. One crisp autumn morning, as the forest floor crunched with a symphony of auburn and ochre leaves underfoot, Anya and Silas embarked on their customary sojourn through the heart of their verdant domain. Anya, her crimson cloak swirling around her like a tempestuous flame, skipped ahead, her laughter echoing like wind chimes through the silent trees. Silas, with a smile as gentle as the curve of a crescent moon, followed in her wake, his footsteps as silent as a falling leaf. Suddenly, the air shimmered with an unnatural luminescence. A vortex of cerulean energy materialized before them, its tendrils crackling with an electric fervor. Anya, ever the explorer, surged forward, mesmerized by the spectacle. Silas, with a premonition of impending doom, reached out to restrain her, but it was too late. Anya was swept into the vortex, her scream swallowed by the maelstrom of cerulean light. Silas lunged after her, but the energy tendrils repelled him with an agonizing force, throwing him back onto the forest floor. Part 2. A Verdant Odyssey. Silas scrambled to his feet, a primal roar erupting from his throat. Anya was gone, vanished into the swirling abyss. Rage, potent and emerald-hued, surged through him, lending him a strength he never knew he possessed. With a determined glint in his verdant eyes, Silas charged towards the vortex, its tendrils snapping at him like ravenous vipers. He wrestled with the energy field, the raw power coursing through him threatening to consume him. But the thought of Anya, lost and alone, spurred him forward. The vortex pulsed, and Silas felt himself weakening. Just as despair threatened to engulf him, a tendril of emerald light, identical to Silas's eye color, snaked out from the vortex and wrapped around him. A voice, ethereal and laced with sorrow, echoed in his mind. It was Anya, pleading with him to turn back. But Silas was resolute. With a final surge of emerald-hued energy, he ripped himself free of the vortex's grasp and plunged into the swirling mass of cerulean light. The world dissolved into a chaotic tapestry of color and sound. Silas tumbled through an endless tunnel, the roar of the vortex a constant companion. He didn't know how long he fell, but eventually, the chaotic symphony began to wane. A soft luminescence grew in the distance, beckoning him forward. With a final burst of energy, Silas propelled himself towards the light. He emerged into a world bathed in an ethereal cerulean glow. The sky shimmered with an intensity that rivaled 1,000 sapphires, casting the landscape in an otherworldly sheen. Towering crystalline structures, their facets catching the cerulean light and casting kaleidoscopic shadows, pierced the horizon. In the distance, a city shimmered, its buildings constructed from the same luminescent crystal. This was Aethel, the legendary city at the nexus of the cosmos, a place spoken of only in hushed whispers and fireside tales. Part 3. An Azure Reunion. Silas wandered through the streets of Aethel, the cerulean light refracting off the crystalline buildings, creating a mesmerizing spectacle. A sense of disquiet gnawed at him. This place, for all its beauty, felt sterile and devoid of the vibrant chaos of the forest he called home. His heart yearned for Anya, for the warmth of her touch and the fire of her spirit. As he rounded a corner, he came face to face with Anya. But this Anya was different. Her eyes, once a stormy cerulean, now mirrored the cold perfection of the city around them. Her movements were measured, devoid of the untamed grace he loved. She regarded him with a detached curiosity, as if he were a fascinating specimen from a forgotten era. Silas's heart plummeted. This ethereal creature was a mere shell of the Anya he knew. A wave of despair washed over him, so potent it threatened to drown him. Part 4. An Emerald Heart. Anya, Silas whispered, his voice thick with a bittersweet concoction of hope and anguish. It's me, Silas. Anya blinked, a flicker of something akin to recognition dancing in those chilling sapphire eyes. "Silas," she echoed, her voice as smooth and polished as the crystalline structures surrounding them. "You followed me? How? Unwise." Silas felt a sharp pang in his chest. "Anya, what has happened to you? This isn't you." He instinctively reached out to her, but she stepped back, her eyes narrowing. "This is the true me. Unburdened by chaotic emotions, able to see the logic and necessity behind Ethel's order." "You still cling to your primitive world," she said, a hint of disdain lacing her words. Silas refused to be daunted. His own verdant eyes blazed with determination. "Anya, those emotions you dismiss, those are what make us human. Love, joy, anger, they ground us. This," he gestured towards the crystalline metropolis, "it might be beautiful, but it's cold. It's lifeless." Anya turned away, her back rigid and unyielding. "I was lost before, trapped by a world that did not understand my potential. Here, I thrive. This is my future, Silas, and there is no place for you in it." Silas's heart felt heavy, a cold realization settling over him. The city hadn't simply changed Anya, it had swallowed her whole, warping her into an unrecognizable reflection. He had to make her see reason, awaken the fiery spirit that still flickered beneath the surface. Part 5. The Sapphire Cage. Days morphed into weeks. Silas, a vibrant splash of green in a world of cerulean, tirelessly sought to reach Anya. He shared stories of their forest home, the warmth of bonfires on star-dusted nights, the sweet tang of sun-warmed berries on their tongues. Yet, Anya remained unmoved, her resolve encased in a sapphire shell. One day, as Silas wandered a vast crystalline hall, a flicker of crimson caught his eye. It was Anya's cloak, discarded and forgotten in a corner. On impulse, he gathered it up, its familiar scent washing over him with the force of a tidal wave. He wrapped the cloak around his shoulders, seeking solace in its familiar warmth amidst this chillingly beautiful alien world. Suddenly, a wave of searing pain lanced through him. The cloak seemed to writhe against his skin, the crimson fabric seeping into his pores. He stumbled, his vision blurring. Panic flared through him. The cloak was not a mere memento. It was infused with Anya's fiery essence. This city rejected it, rejected all things chaotic and natural, just as it had begun to corrupt Anya herself. Silas forced himself to his feet, a new resolve blazing within him. This wasn't just about saving Anya. He had to save himself from this insidious crystalline influence. He would find a way to sever the tendrils that bound Anya to this city and bring them both back to where they truly belonged. Part 6. Reclaiming the Flame. Fueled by desperation and a glimmering hope, Silas began to explore the underbelly of Ethel. Beneath its sleek facade, he discovered tunnels, a labyrinth of subterranean passages veiled in shadows. Here, remnants of resistance lingered, beings who, like Anya, had been pulled into Ethel's embrace and partially transformed, but who held on to the last vestiges of their humanity. Silas forged an uneasy alliance with these spectral figures. They taught him the fragile threads of energy binding Ethel together, how the city drew its otherworldly power from the cosmos itself, feeding on vibrant souls like Anya's. On the night of the equinox, when the very air thrummed with an ethereal intensity, Silas and his allies made their move. They gathered at the nexus of Ethel's power, their forms shrouded in the protective shadows. Silas drew on the ancient power of the forest, the emerald essence within him resonating with the stolen energy coursing through the city. With a surge of emerald light, Silas struck the nexus, disrupting the delicate flow of energies. The effect was instantaneous. The city faltered, its cerulean glow dimming. Anya appeared before him, her eyes flashing with a mix of confusion and the return of her old fiery defiance. "Silas, what have—" she began, her voice wavering. "Come home, Anya," he pleaded, extending a hand. "Before it's too late." The city groaned and shifted around them, the crystal structures cracking under the strain. Anya hesitated for one heart-stopping moment, then reached out and clasped Silas's hand. Together, they plunged into the growing instability, their figures swallowed by darkness. They emerged back in their forest, amidst the familiar sounds of rustling leaves and the gentle hooting of owls. Anya collapsed, shuddering, as the crystalline taint faded from her being. In a burst of color, her cloak sprang back to its vibrant red. Silas embraced her, silent tears mingling with her laughter as they held onto each other for dear life. 7. Symphony of Souls. The journey back to their verdant sanctuary was an emotional roller coaster for both Silas and Anya. The crisp forest air and familiar symphony of birdsong felt both comforting and alien after the sterile beauty of Athel. Anya's laughter now resonated with an underlying sorrow, a reminder of the chilling perfection she had been forced to reject. Yet, Silas, ever the steadfast oak, was determined to rekindle her flame, to show her that true vibrancy lay not in crystalline order, but in the natural chaos of the world they called home. Each sunrise, Anya awoke with a haunting sense of Athel's cerulean light shimmering at the edges of her vision. Fear warred with determination within her heart. Silas, with infinite patience, held her close, reminding her of crackling campfires that defied the night and the delicate beauty of wildflowers against the stark, unforgiving rocks. The forest, once a place of simple comfort, became an intricate tapestry of resilience and unyielding spirit, the very things they needed to combat the memory of Athel's insidious power. One day, as they wandered by the river where glistening pebbles caught the sunlight like a handful of scattered stars, Anya stopped abruptly. A flicker of fear mingled with an iron will ignited her cerulean-tinged eyes. "Silas, we can't run forever," she declared, her voice resonating with a quiet strength. "This isn't over, Athel." It exploited a weakness, a fault line within the balance of things. A tremor rippled through Silas. He had sensed it too, a disharmony beneath the forest's familiar lullaby. But Anya, with her newfound connection to the otherworldly energies, felt it even more keenly. Part 8. Echoes of Emerald. Together, with a mixture of dread and resolve, they returned to the clearing. It buzzed with a strange energy, a dissonant hum that echoed the sterile beauty of Athel. Yet, the hum throbbed not with sapphire light, but with a soft pulse of emerald. Anya, eyes closed in concentration, felt the tendrils of the forest, the ancient pulse of the land, struggling against this alien intrusion. A shiver ran down her spine. Athel wants to consume those who still remember the raw power of chaos, the balance it has long forgotten, she whispered, understanding dawning within her. It wants to turn us into them, reflections of its own sterile perfection. Silas's own spirit surged with protective fury. He was no stranger to the forces of nature, to the relentless strength of a seed against unyielding earth. But this was different, a malevolent force seeking to erase the delicate balance Anya was only just beginning to understand. Days melted into weeks, then months, and Anya and Silas became the guardians of the clearing. Anya's connection to the emerald tendrils solidified, blossoming into a profound ability to commune with the spirits of the wild. There, amidst the whisper of ancient winds and the gentle rustle of leaves, she learned to harness their power, to soothe the wound in the land that had pulled Athel's hunger towards them. The emerald pulses flowed through her, revitalizing the forest with renewed energy. A sense of peace enveloped their sanctuary, the disharmony a fading echo under Anya's careful watch. The fear that had once haunted their steps was replaced by watchful determination. With Silas's unwavering strength and Anya's emerald-fueled power, they would protect this haven, their home. The threat of Athel faded into a haunting reminder, a chilling whisper carried on the wind. While they never saw the Cerulean city again, they knew its insatiable hunger would one day turn its gaze back upon them. But when that day came, they would be ready. Silas, his spirit intertwined with the steadfast trees of the forest, and Anya, wielding the vibrant echoes of emerald energy, a testament to the true heart of the world, a harmony born of chaos, order, sorrow, and unyielding joy.